So hello folks, a very good morning to all. I hope you are watching the video and in the new technological videos which I usually post in the channel. So I hope it will definitely enhance your career in the development of RPA. So without wasting any time, we'll be discussing about the components of RPA. So what are the different components of RPA which you usually come across and how it usually processes the robots in the platform of digitals or digital learning. So without these kind of things are very important, prior important when we usually depends upon how the what are the components usually makes something, right? So for an example, I can give what are the components which makes a human body. Then definitely everyone will say that our neurological, our circulatory systems, our digestive systems. So those are the systems or those are the components which usually helps and enhances a human body to circulate, to propagate and to stimulate. Right. So in the similar fashion, what are the components which usually helps in the development of RPA? Then definitely the recorder, the developmental studio, the plugin, the extension, the robot, the bot runners in the control center. Okay, so these are the very important perspectives, or we can say that these are the very important components which usually helps in the development of RPA. Okay, so we'll be discussing everything in detail about this. What are recorders? What are developmental studio? What is plugin extension? And what is bot runner? So and all about control center. So these things are very important. We can say without wasting time, I'll be having the windows for you so that you will be having a clear explanation regarding how and when we should have to make it, and how and when we should have to, where we have to implement that. So it all depends, right? So this is how we can have an digital, or you can say that in programmatical view we can say that, or we can say that graphical view also we can say that, how it usually having the components to execute. Okay, so one is recorder, plugin extension and workflow design. This all comes under developmental studio, or we can say that any software which you usually use for stimulating. So this is directly linked with what? Control centers or CC. Okay, so this is directly linked with what? Control center, where the control center will be linking with the bot runner, or we can say that runtime, which is all about final stage of that. And it also linked with the command line interface, we can say that enterprises app. Okay, so these things are prior important when we usually discuss about what? Discuss about the components of RPA, or we can say that. So then after we'll be discussing everything in detail about regarding the recorder, what is it and how it usually helpful. So here you can see that recorder is a part of developmental studio, which I have already said that that developer used to configure the robots. Okay, so recorders usually the main work of recorder is to control, or we can say that to configure, right? To configure the robots. It is like the macro reader in Excel, right? The board recorder is in any platform, records steps. It records mouse, keyboard and movement on UI. Okay, and this record can be pre-played to do the same step again and again. This enables rapid automation. The component has played a very big role in the popularity of what? Popularity of RPA. Okay, so these things will be seen in the record and play chapter of 2. Okay, then after we'll be going for developmental studio, right? So developmental studio is all about what and how it is usually helpful, and how what are the different components which usually included in the developmental studio. So these things are also prior important when we discuss about what? Discuss about the RPA development. Okay, so here the developmental studio is just like providing energy to your body by glucose. So whenever we discuss about how glucose is helpful for our human body, definitely it usually what is usually does that glucose usually provides, usually drains our human body, right? So in the similar fashion, developmental studio is just like configuring the robot and to train the robots. Used for the developmental studio, it is set up instruction, decision making, and logic coded for robots to execute. Okay, some platform provide flow charting capabilities such as Vision, so it becomes very easy to plot step in process. Whereas some other platforms usually requires coding, right? So which usually have coding interface, but UI path usually have graphical user interface, UI programming, or we can even say that. Okay, so this is all about what extends. We can say that developmental studio. Then after extension plugin, what are extension plugin and how usually it is useful? Most platform offers many plugins and extensions to ease and development in this running of boards. Okay, so in many applications such as Java, SAP, it is even necessary. It is not easy to individually identify the control of the UI path, the traditional techniques, right? So RPA vendors usually do that. That plugins, we can say that. So whenever you might be having a clear knowledge about how web development usually works, so there we usually come across plugins, how the design flow has been going on, what are the different components we usually wants to include. Okay, so those all comes under extension and plugins. Then after, what are bot runners? So bot runner, this is referred to a robot. Okay, to a robot, other components to make it run. That is all about robot runner, we can say that. So last and final topic, it is all about control center. It is just like providing an objective. Okay, so providing an objective about how much capable a person is, just like how we are being interviewed in any company or in any MNCs whenever we come across physically, right? So this is all about how the control center works with the different uh, bot runner enterprises. Then after, what I can say that control centers. Okay, so control center is all about just like a extension plugin development studio. It just keeps a link on all these stuffs. Okay, so this is all about the components of RPA. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Thank you for watching my video.